Over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of social justice warrior stuff come out of schools. We've seen a lot of this stuff come from teachers and students and whomever else who just say the stupidest of stupid things. And a few days ago, it happened again. So a teacher by the name of Gregory Saisado decided to go and give his views on the military. And they weren't that great. He proceeded to go and call them cowards and the lowest of the low, and among many other pretty bad things. And the whole video was about 6 minutes long, and it's just him going and bashing the military, saying these really, really horrible things about them, and a lot of other stuff is just going and blowing my mind about them. And the thing about it is that he's saying it to a student who's wearing a Marine Corps shirt. Apparently the student was wearing a shirt like that, and he went and said, "Oh, you can't wear that." And then he went on this huge rant about it, and I'm not sure if this is the student he's talking to who's recording it or not, but because throughout the whole video you really can't see anything. It's just something's on top of the camera or the phone that he's recording it with, so you really can't see much, so I guess the teacher wouldn't find out that he's actually recording it. But whoever he's saying it to, it's pretty shocking, because this is bullying. This is straight up bullying. He's going and saying this stuff to a student, someone who's much younger than him, who's not trained to go and debate yet, really. And he's saying this stuff because he doesn't like the military, because some student who just supports the military, whether he may want to go inside it, or maybe he has a family member who's a part of it, or just supports it, he didn't expect this to happen. He just went and wore this shirt and this happened, and he's just sitting there going like, what's happening? I mean, it would be like if I went into a place with wearing my blue shirt and someone just like, "You're not allowed to wear a blue shirt in here. This is Chicago Blackhawks place. You cannot wear that. The Blues have never won a cup." And it's just, I would just be completely shocked and go like, what the fuck is going on? What are you talking about? And it's amazing the things that this teacher said, because this is unprofessional. It is really unprofessional. This man is a teacher. He is not here to go and say this kind of stuff. He is there to go and teach history, which is apparently his profession. He's supposed to just go and give what's in the books, like who's the first president, what happened during the Civil War, when did women get the right to vote, that kind of stuff. He's not supposed to go and say this stuff in front of a student. There's actually something called leave it at home, and for a lot of workplaces it's like that. You're supposed to leave your political views at home, along with your religious views and your ethics. And for the most part, I agree with that, because it can get pretty debated and heated if you get into an argument with someone. So it's pretty smart if you just leave that stuff at home. You're not at work to go and talk about that stuff. You're at work to go and do your job. Whether you're a checker or a car salesman or a stockbroker or anything like that, you're there to do what you're supposed to do. Not this kind of stuff like this guy is doing. I mean, if I did this kind of stuff, it would be, I would be a complete asshole for doing it. I'd be terrible. Chances are I would get a warning or probably fired from my job for doing it. And rightfully so, because I was in the wrong. I mean, someone didn't go and expect to go and get into this debate and bully because I didn't agree with them on something. They were there just to go and do whatever they were supposed to do and then go home. They weren't expecting that, and I wouldn't go and do that kind of stuff, because I mean, there are times I do want to go and say something, but in the end I decide not to, because it's a smart thing to do, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But what this guy said on the military is just, mean, not all people in the military are great people. I'll go on and say that, but for the most part, they are there to go and save us. They go and give their lives so we can go on breathing and have our freedom. There are mothers and fathers who have lost their sons and daughters to this. And this guy has the balls to go and say they are cowards. I mean, if I had a son or a daughter who died in the military, I would just... You think I'm ranty right now? Well, I would have some things to say to this guy. And apparently, there are a ton of people who do right now. Because people from all around the country, and especially in the town they live in, are going and giving this guy their opinion. There are tons of veterans out there who are going and just calling this guy out for what he is. And in the town he lives in, I think it's just pretty big news, and people are shocked about it and pretty mad at him. I think even the people on the left are kind of mad at him right now and just think he's kind of a jerk, because he is a jerk. And, I mean, and it's just amazing what he said to these people, because he's going around and stereotyping a whole group of people. He's saying that everyone in the military is a coward, that they're just bad people, that they're lowest of the low, that they're killers, that they're uneducated. He's saying them to all these kinds of people. And really, this is no different than saying all Muslims are terrorists. It's the exact same thing, just from the other side. And he's just going around and saying this thing about these groups. You really shouldn't go and stereotype every single group out there, because usually it's going to be wrong, whether you're stereotyping the South or social justice warriors, because even though I do go and get mad at social justice warriors a lot, they do have good intentions sometimes, but they just take it too far a lot. That's what's wrong with them. I do know that sometimes they do want to help, but they usually just take it the wrong way at times. And when you go and stereotype groups like this, it just goes and shows you how wrong you are. And the thing that really upsets me about this is that this teacher isn't the only one who's doing this. There are tons of other teachers who are going and giving their viewpoint to their students, whether it's liberal or conservative. They're going and spewing their viewpoint on them when they're not supposed to. I mean, if they want to go and say what they think, just in a more casual way, like, I voted for this person in the election because, then that's okay, but they shouldn't go around saying, well, the reason I go and voted for this person is because the other guy is a terrible person who's a Nazi, and just goes on this terrible rant, and it's amazing because they're going and telling these students these kinds of things. And some of these students actually believe these things, because in the video, some of the students were laughing at the stuff this guy was saying, so they actually believe this stuff. And this is where a lot of these really politically correct students are coming from. And there's more videos out there to prove this, actually. There are tons of videos from colleges and some high schools where a teacher is going and saying these really bad things, and that's where these students are learning these things and how they're turning into these really, really politically correct people. And it's just, more people need to see that, so we can just have less of these teachers go and say these things and just go and do their jobs and let the students what they want to believe. Let them have their beliefs, not yours. And it's just, this guy is a history teacher. A history teacher. Let me tell you, Mr. Sakaido, if you're a history teacher, you must know that George Washington, the first president of the United States, was in the military. He led the Continental Army from 1775 to 1783. After that, he retired for a few years until he was elected president in 1789, and stayed that for several years until he died in 1799. You knew that, right? That he led the Continental Army, that the one that eventually got us to the country we are today. You know, the first president. Did, did you know that? I'm just wondering. Or what about Simpson Grant, Ulysses Grant? The 18th President of the United States, he helped end the Civil War a little. He had Lee surrender, and that ended the Civil War. Did you know that? I'm pretty sure you did. He was also in the military, so... Or what about 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, leader of the Rough Riders? Did you know that as well? Charged up Samuel Hill? Just asking you if you know this stuff, because if you're a history teacher, you should probably know these things, especially if you're a US history teacher. And if you don't, then I'm really questioning your profession. Yeah. We've had several presidents and people in Congress and anything else like that who have been in the military. And he has the guts to go and say these people are cowards and uneducated and whatever else. George Washington was uneducated. That's what he's teaching these people. And it's just... I really think he shouldn't be going and saying these things to his students, and a lot of people might go and think, well, isn't that against free speech? And I can see where you're coming from for that. I can definitely see where you're coming from, because I guess in a way it is against free speech, but then it also goes in with how you shouldn't go and just go and leave it at home. At a lot of jobs, you're not allowed to go and speak about some kind of stuff. So... to me, there's a time and a place for everything. If you want to go and say this stuff maybe on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, he has the right to say that. He has the right to go and say it on all those platforms. But when he's at his job, no. He's trying to say it, act like a mature adult, and just do his freaking job. You gotta be smart with free speech when you have it. When you're not, and you use it in a very uneducated way, it can backfire on you. Not only do you hurt the person in front of you, but you also hurt yourself. You can lose your friend, you can lose your job, and a lot more if you're just not wise of how you use your words. And that's how a lot of these people really are. For example, technically, you are allowed to use the N-word in front of a black man or a black woman. You won't go to prison for it, you probably won't get fined for it, but you're allowed to say it. Now, should you say it? No. It's a bad word to use. It's a very... losing my voice. Very uneducated word to use, so you shouldn't use it. And it's just... You shouldn't say those kind of stuff to some kind of people. There are times when you know that you shouldn't go and say something. And it kind of reminds me of what happened at the Grammys a few days ago. The Grammys went and got political and just said all these things about Trump and a lot of other things. And while they are allowed to say these things, I don't think they should. Sometimes there are things you know you shouldn't say because you just... it's not the time. And they should have just gone and left it at home. The award shows are just supposed to be about people winning awards. That is all. People don't expect them to get political, because when they do, the people from the other side get pissed off and they decide just not to watch it. And it kind of showed this year because the Grammys had some of the lowest ratings they ever had. So people weren't really happy about it. They turned away from it. And it won't surprise me next year if they're going to have even less people watching them because they had to go and do this. Was it really worth going and saying this stuff just to go and get your viewpoint out? Was it really worth going and just having less people watch it just so you can go and be proven right? And for this teacher, was it really worth going and getting his viewpoint out and then possibly getting fired for it? I don't know. And personally, I don't think he should get fired for it. I think that's going too far. I think he should probably just go and apologize to his students, say he was wrong, and move on from there. Maybe if the controversy goes and continues, resign from his job. Or at least that was what I think, because it just... it's probably not going to go well for him in the long run. I mean, this is probably going to continue with him for a while, and I've heard he's had some pretty bad stuff in his past. I heard he went and threatened a student several years ago and said if she doesn't shut up, he'll kill her, and a few years later he went and slapped a student for going and disagreeing with him. So he's had a pretty violent past, and this guy was mayor at one point, the mayor of his city, and he's also on the city council. So I'm not sure if he's going to get released from that or not. And I mean, it's not going to be easy for this guy to go and get over to say, because in today's social media, when you do something and gets posted on the internet, it's usually forever. It's always going to backfire on you, and it's not going to leave you really easily. But like I said, I don't think he should be fired from it. Just maybe resign, but for the most part, just apologize and promise not to do this stuff in the future. But Mr. Spiccato, I don't know what's going to happen to you, but whatever does, it's your own fault. You are very, very, very stupid for doing all this. That's really all I can say about you. But hey, throughout the whole thing, I didn't name call you at once, did I? I didn't say you're a douchebag or cutface or anything like that. No. I was much more mature than you've ever been probably in your entire life. I didn't really say that much about you. I just pointed you out for what you did, because everyone else is rightfully doing so, because you deserve to be pointed out for what you did. And people in the city you live in aren't really happy about you. It isn't going to be easy to go and say this, and more people are probably going to go and turn on you as time goes on, because they have finally found out what you really are. And I hope this changes what schools are like right now. I hope that more teachers get caught doing this stuff, and they just go and do their job, which is supposed to go and teach whatever they're teaching and not anything else. If we do that, then maybe we'll actually see some more kids in the future who are educated and don't act like brats, like we have seen in the last couple of months with Antifa and those alt-right kids and whatever else. And if it doesn't, then maybe I'll homeschool my kids. They won't know math at all, because I don't math at all, but at least they'll know their history. But it'll be a lot better than having them become these alt-righters or these social justice warriors that we have today. And I think we can all agree with that.